Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Tuesday, October 7th. And overnight, pretty uneventful. This kind of market is just kind of twisting in a way and holding at the highs. So I'm always in awe when I'm watching the market just sitting here twisting in the wind, not doing anything. You would think that it's going to be some people starting to get a little bit squeamish and starting taking some money off the table, see some downward pressure, but so far I'm not seeing any of that. The market is still just shrugging off this whole government shutdown thing. And we'll just have to see how over time how long it needs to go before either they kind of resolve it or the market starts getting turbulent. I'm watching the bond market. That's I think when we may see the first uh, indications that the bond market is going start heading south. But right now, no news to drive the market really. Just have trade what we see and watch for headlines. Right now, we would have gotten, wasn't a whole lot of news planned for today anyway. This whole week is going to be pretty light. We had the Fed minutes on Wednesday was supposed to come out. Powell may speak still. I don't know if he's going to speak on Thursday. He's scheduled to speak. Um, and yeah, nothing. It's pretty light news week overall. So even if that news doesn't come out, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue for the market. So starting off right now, the ES did not extend yesterday to the upside, so that's technically in stage two. And the profile, non-profile development. So watching for potential weakness. If they start taking this higher, I'm just going to consider that a pause day, and then we're back extending. But we'll see if they can extend make new highs here in the day session. Right now, it looks to me like we may have a potential triple top setting up. We had one, the first one, the last time it extended, yesterday's high. And if it trades up here in the day session and retest this for the third time, that could be either the time it breaks through or it could be a nice triple top and a nice pullback from there. As usual, the third time to a level, you always want to be cautious about it. So not going to be super aggressive on that short side. But if they start heading south after they retest this high, we may have a shot at hopping on the short side. I would probably give it down here to that London low. This is our trading below that 67.75 to make that call. But to get started on the ES, we're starting off looking for weakness, but just given that we didn't extend yesterday, if we don't see much of that, if you see early strength instead, they're looking for a short against that 6800s for rotations down, and if they take it out, we are right back in stage one. So yes, one short opportunity, and if that doesn't develop, then we're going to be back on the long side again. If we get early weakness, I would look to buy against the 67. 88 to 90s, the 67.75s to get started. If they trade below that 75s, I'm going to go back. It's going to be fairly quick on the short side here. Given that yesterday's day session did not extend to the upside, so if they back off below that London low, I'm going to start thinking maybe we're still in stage two and we're looking for weakness, see how far they want to push it before they cut off the selling. So those are two opportunities I see in front of us. But early on, starting off looking to buy against the first these two support areas, the 88 to 90s. We're trading right there, so I would be maybe a little bit less aggressive on that one, but definitely against that 67.75 for a retest for rotation back up. To take out that 75s, I'm going to start thinking pull back for more weakness, given that we may have a third retest already set up at that point. So that's kind of the dynamic. If you start seeing some weakness, we're still in stage three. In other words, if they don't extend to the upside, they just kind of trade higher, potentially retest it, but can't take out the highs, and then after that, take out the London low. At that point, I think we have a triple test and could be a nice little pullback based on that. But first, I had to take out that 75s. I would be looking to buy against the 65s and the 55s, just not as aggressively, given that we are in stage two potentially, and that we may see some weakness heading lower. But trying a short trade fairly aggressively below that 70-75, that could be a good trade location for one. But again, if you're going to try short trades, don't sell into these support areas. Just make sure they come out. And if they for some reason take out that 55, you get that far down, then we are definitely pulling back, and we can just be a little bit more aggressive on getting on that short side. So that's the way I'm looking at it right now, and see if they can keep extending. You can see how this whole grind has been just a slow grind to the upside. And one of these days, you will get that elevator to the downside where you just wonder what the heck happened and take out everything, you know. So you never know when that day comes, but we have our first signs, our first indications, and one was going to be taking out that 75 early on, and that would be a good indication. If they can hold above it for a while, and then we may actually see an extension to the upside. But all right, so that's the ES. We have a couple of opportunities or options there, but look for that potential triple test on the upside and failure. Look for the stage 2 further pullback, further pulling back and trying to find a spot to cut off the selling. So those are the two opportunities I see developing. If we for some reason start extending to the upside and you'll see strength, then I'll take it and we'll stay on the long side. All right, that's the ES. Back looking at the Nasdaq and the bonds. Bond market is pulling back a little bit, down here to the 116s now. So, all right, maybe back down again. Now we're gonna have to see and if they're gonna take out this low. So this big ledge comes out, we can head all the way back to the 114s. That would be the first attractor to the downside. And if that happens, just stay on the short side on that until we get down to 114. So it's a good distance to go, but they still had to take out the 116, the 115, 28s for rotations back. It's for take out these two support areas and start heading lower before I start thinking about the short side. So still looking to buy against these 16, 15, 28. Below 1528, I think we are heading lower at that point. So I'm looking to sell strength on the bonds right now to get started against that 16 or 16.6 to or 5 to 6, against the 16.10, against the 16.15, 16, about 15.16, taking off the short bias and going back range span again. But looking for that early weakness to see if they can bust through support and head lower. That would be a first sign that the bond market is not happy. They start heading lower like that. Nasdaq is still in stage 1. They extended yesterday to the upside, so they are still up here flirting with the highs. Have pulled back a little bit down here to the 25 120s. Now they're trading up. Still same dynamic there. We'll see if they can extend to the upside. If they start taking out that London low, we may see some more weakness. I'm looking at right now, I'm looking for early strength to retest these highs, potentially take it higher. So initially looking to buy weakness against that, the 180s, against the 120s for rotations up. If they start taking out that 120s, I'm going to get back on the short side, I think fairly aggressively. I'm getting the sense that this grind to the upside is going to end up with a little bit of a pullback, but when, who knows? So I'm going to just be a little bit more aggressive today, be going back range bound below that 120 level if they trade below it. Sometimes you get that level below the obvious, and that would include the 25,070s or the 40s here. But that would be a pretty good pullback if they run it that far down and then reverse it. So initially looking to buy early weakness, but not super aggressively below the 120s if they trade below that one. And if they start turning up here, we could have a nice retest setting up at the 250s. So that would be a potential retest failure setting up. And if they blow through the highs, well, we're right back extending again, back in stage 1. So that can be an interesting one to see if they're going to keep extending. You get these little pullbacks. I mean, we had the other day here, they ran it pretty hard to the downside. And but so far it's getting bought. Everything is getting bought still. So there's no reason to be super aggressive on the short side just yet. look for that early strength. It can retest these highs, potentially take it higher. And then if you start pulling back below your London low, that's when you can start thinking about maybe further weakness. All right, so that's the Nasdaq. Both ES and Nasdaq from the long side. ES with a little bit of the caveat that they're in stage 2 potentially, and we'll see if they're going to start taking that lower. That would be kind of confirming that. But looking at gold, and I think we got it right. Here we go, 4,000 gold. Yeah, yeah, they hit 4,000 in the overnight, then backed off, and now they're right back up again. So gold hitting 4,000, then backing off, and down to that 39.63. So now we have a pretty good spot on gold. They finally hit their 4,000 target. And let's see if it keeps going. Fear of missing out. People are piling on gold, that's for sure. I didn't do anything on this guy here. That's going to drive this one down a bit. Yeah, this guy going to come down a little bit there, and this guy's going to come down there. There you go. Missed those two. But I would look at this and look to buy weakness right now, 39.88s, 77s, 72s, 64s for rotations up. If they trade below that 64, 63, 64, the London low, we may have a pullback developing, and it could be, and I would probably be more aggressive that as soon as they take that thing out, trying to get short and see how far they can take it. But right now, stay on the long side, looking to buy against weakness. But if that last level, the London low, comes out, I think that could be a signal that we have a retest setting up here at the highs and at 4,000. And then you get it for this magical level, 4,000 gold. Maybe they're going to see some profit taken right there. Yeah, saying we'll find out. But right now they hit 4,000 on gold. So if you bought gold, just double your money on that. We bought it like a year ago or half a year ago. Pretty freaking amazing on gold running up like that. It feels very much overextended. But then again, gold is going to do what it's going to do until they run out of gas. And then we'll see how the correction looks. But right now, it's like a rocket to the upside. So gold trade that from the long side of the market. On oil, we are pretty much range bound. We haven't really taken out. We're down here at the 61s right now. We pulled back a little bit from probing to the downside. So I haven't quite started retracing it back to the mean yet. So I'm thinking that I'm keying in on this area, the 62s. So looking for short against that 62 level for rotations down. Now, if they take that out, start trading above it, I'm going to be looking for retracement back to that to value at 63, 64. And if it holds, looking for rotations down here, see if they can retest the lows here at the 60, 60, 30 here. But so initially I would probably look to buy against the 61.60 and the 61.20s just to get started to see if they have any strength left to trade this higher. Looking for short against that 62. So that's the range I'm looking at. And if they trade below that 61s on the short, stay on the short side and see how far they can run this lower, at least expect a retest to that low. And if they start taking out that 62, look for a rotation up here towards that 63 level. So that's what I'm thinking about. Oil. I haven't done much trading on oil at all. It is pretty sloppy market, I think. Yeah, I'm just waiting for one of those days. You get a big, nice run, and I just wish I could identify it early enough to get on it. Because once you have sloppy stuff like this going on back and forth, once you get that nice trending day, you'll be just missing it because you're sitting and waiting for the slop to end. So it just takes you by surprise. But right now in oil, I'm not doing much. It's been pretty sloppy market to trade. But right now, if you do trade it, watch that 62 on the upside and 61, 61.20 on the downside. Outside of that range, we may have a directional move going. And gold, again, let's trade up on the long side of the market. Watch that, buy the weakness, but watch that session low, the London low. If that comes out, it could be a nice little technical correction setting up at that point. Back to the ES. So ES and the Nasdaq still holding on to their gains. So watch for that triple test on the ES at 6,800. It's at 67.95 to 6,800. And if that holds, could be a nice little pullback from there. If we never see that happening or they extend to the upside, start backing off. Well, if it fails and they start backing off and it takes out that London low, that's when you can be a little bit more aggressive on the short side and start thinking pullback. That would be a good setup. A triple test failure, take out the London low. That would give you a pretty good setup for a short trade and see how far you can take it on the downside. So, all right. So I think that's about it right now. I would say good trading, guys. And there's no news, government shutdown. Watching the news is boring. It's all need is posturing and stuff happening, but it's always let's watch for headlines and see if there is some news coming about potentially ending it. All right, guys, good trading, and I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update later.